Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Xiong versus Figueiredo. So without further ado, let's scroll on down to our first fight on the card. So all the way down here, first fight on the card we have in the strawweight division, we got Loma Lookboonmee versus Jacqueline Amorim. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Loma Lookboonmee to beat, low confidence Loma Lookboonmee to beat Jacqueline Amorim. Amorim has questionable cardio. She's an all-around talent. Like, she can strike a bit, she can grapple a bit. You know, she's a real solid talent, like real virtuoso, as you would say. But no, she's definitely not the toughest, and she definitely doesn't have the best conditioning. She has lost now multiple times to fading, and her last loss looked pretty terrible, to be honest. That should have been a fight she should have definitely won, and she wet the bed bad here. Loma Lookboonmee is on the smaller side of things, but she's very hard to finish. Amazing striker, much tougher and stronger than she looks. So I think Loma Lookboonmee at the very least can address the grappling with Amorim, or at least like extend her beyond the first, extend her to full 15 minutes, in my opinion. I think, again, Loma Lookboonmee has never been finished inside the UFC, and she's been there with some credible fighters. So, she might not be a grappler herself, she has done a good job of, working on that area of her game, and at the very least, she has not been submitted. So, and at the very least, she hasn't dropped that many L's to just getting taken down later. So she do a good job of defending takedowns, do a good job of taking it, the takedown, defending it, and then landing knees as well. So she do a good job of turning those takedowns on her opponents as well, or the tip of the takedowns against them, and use that to jam knees into their chest, into their stomach. So yeah, she's a problem. And again, Amorim has looked terrible in her last outing. I think it's a good fight for Loma Lookboonmee. I think she could address the grappling, extend Amorim, outwork her, break her down over the course of the fight, and then just start to kind of run away with the fight. I don't think she stops Amorim, but I do think she beats her by a clear decision. Again, addressing the grappling early, and then just putting the pace on her from the get-go, and then slow cooking Amorim to a decision victory. So yeah, I think Loma Lookboonmee is able to address the grappling and again push the pace, which Amorim has struggled with time and time again, and has been the reason why she has lost fights, or fights have ended up being closer than they should have been. The cardio and conditioning of Amorim, which is always questionable. And yeah, I think Loma Lookboonmee exploits that. I think she beats her by decision. So in this one, I got Loma Lookboonmee via decision. Now, the next fight we have in the featherweight division, we got Kong Ji-Zhu versus Rodrigo Vera. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Rodrigo Vera to beat Kong Ji-Zhu. I'm not so familiar with these guys, or these guys have done anything like to make me feel like I have to recognize them. This fight for me to see who both these guys are. But from what I've seen so far, Rodrigo Vera is like the better overall fighter, so I'll say him by decision. I think Zhu's a tough competitor, but I think Rodrigo Vera is just a better overall package. So I'll lean Rodrigo Vera here to get a decision. But again, I'm very clearly saying that this is a fight. Prove to me who you guys are. I don't care who wins this fight. Show me something. Win, lose, or draw. Show me something good. Show me something bad so I can fade you if you bad. Show me something good, especially if I'm picking. So, Vera, show me something good and win the fight. So, matter of fact, show me something bad and win the fight so I could fade you the next fight and get good odds against you or something. That'd be great. Because obviously I don't see like a particularly high ceiling from either guy. So, it'd be better if I see Rodrigo Vera look lukewarm and still win here. Because, yeah, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll go Rodrigo Vera here. This looks like the better overall fighter at the moment. So, in this one, I got Rodrigo Vera via decision. Now, for the next fight we have in the women's strawweight division, we got Angela Hill versus Zhang. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Zhang to beat Angela Hill. I feel like this is a very winnable fight for Angela Hill. I don't feel like Zhang is a particularly skilled fighter in her striking or her grappling. I think she's just tough and she just keeps on coming. And that's her superpower. Angela Hill, she's a talented technical fighter, but she is getting up to age, probably in her 40s now or close to it. Yeah, 41 years old. And again, another reason why I don't feel any confidence or any connection to Zhang is because she's old too. She's 38 years old. Both are up there. But, Hill has been around the UFC long enough, so I don't know, maybe the fire is not there as much. Zhang, this will be her first time in the UFC. It might, this could be her last time in the UFC. She don't show out. So I think she'll be pushing more. I feel like Angela Hill has been looking flat in a lot of these fights. I feel like she still has all the skills, if not got better, especially in the grappling department, has gotten a lot better, especially in the past 3-4 years. But I feel like her striking has got a little flat. Like her strikes, like the technique might be there, but as far as the pop and the snap to her punches and her kicks, it just seemed like deflated. Again, she's been looking like a wet noodle out there with her strikes, especially beyond the first round. Like she started looking very flat. And I can see Zhang just outworking her. I can definitely see that. Again, by no means am I saying, oh my gosh, Zhang will run through Hill. I'm not the one underestimating Hill. Hill could definitely come through these spots, and that's definitely a spot where Hill has, done pretty well. But I feel like she's starting to lose these fights that she typically would have won maybe 2 years ago. Like I said, at one point she was like just losing to the top 15, top 10 fighters that will go on to fight for belts, and all these like very talented, promising prospects that hadn't had a rank yet. She probably beat them, but that is changing now. The promising prospects are beating her. Like at one point, like she was beating Lupi Gardena, she was beating so and so and so and so. But again, that time has kind of passed. But I'll go. But then again, Jin Young not really a promising prospect. She's 38, so either way, I just like Jin Young. Like her whole strength is just being tenacious, and Hill's been looking flat. And I feel like Jin Young just simply, I feel like she can outwork. Again, I ain't betting on this pick right here at all. It's on the card, so I gotta pick it. But I ain't picking like trying to force some underdog here. If she wins, she wins. If she lose, she lose. It's on her. But I go Jin Young to be able to outwork deflated Angela Hill here. So in this one, I got Jin Young via decision. Now on to our next fight. We have in the bantamweight division. We got Ray Tsuruya versus Louis Gurule. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Ray Tsuruya to beat Louis Gurule. Yeah, low confidence Ray Tsuruya to beat Louis Gurule. Yeah, this is a tougher stylistic matchup than the Jesus Aguilar fight, in my opinion. Gurule has not, as far as losing in the UFC, has not lost to a grappler. He lost to strikers. Ray Tsuruya is a grappler, so this is a tough matchup. But Ray Tsuruya is, I think, a much younger guy. I think he's like 24, 23 years old versus 32. So he's like inverted. 32 versus 23. Much more upside. Gurule, solid fighter weight. Just be honest, the guy ain't going to turn out to be, top 5, top 1, fight for no belt type guy. He gonna be a guy at most gonna be probably sniff a top 15 spot at the very best. At the very best of luck, he gonna sniff a top 15 spot for a little bit. Then he gonna fall back like that top, really 25 to 30, and kind of hang around there at best. That's what I'm saying. Whereas Ray Tsuruya, at 23 years old, with skills he had and talent he has, and he built upon that, this guy could be potentially fighting for belts at some point in his career. Could be, whether it be at 25 or 35, potentially. Again, he does have a potential. I'm not saying just like I'm saying, that's Gurule's potential. That he's not gonna say he's gonna achieve that. That's a very high potential. That's very, high ceiling for Gurule as far as where he's at. That he can even sniff a top end. I'm not saying he's gonna reach top end, but I feel like that's the highest he could reach. The highest Tsuruya could reach is fight being in title contention, maybe winning the belt. Not saying he'll be there, but I feel like if I had to guess where Ray Tsuruya going, I feel like he might fight for a belt once in his career, not win it. And I can see him being like a top 5 guy for like 3-4 years, and maybe overall kind of being that top 10, top 15 for like 6-7 years. So yeah, that's what I kind of see. But he does come champion. But I'm saying I feel like that's where his ceiling's at. His ceiling's much higher. But stylistic wise, this is a tough matchup. But I think Ray Tsuruya, let's say go back to Gurule. Gurule's takedown offense is only 59%. Ray Tsuruya can go for a lot of takedowns. He's very young, has a lot of cardio. And we have seen Gurule taken down 10 times on Contender Series fight, even though he won that fight. So I think Ray Tsuruya, Ray Tsuruya is not a wrestler. He's like a grappler. So I think it might make the takedown harder, getting the takedowns harder. But I think he can find crafty ways to get it to the ground. And with his grappling, his jiu-jitsu, he can extend that ground control time, whereas like a traditional wrestler won't have those same abilities to get their leg in play and tip submissions to secure the position and stuff. So Ray Tsuruya will be more crafty there. And take the back and be a backpack and stuff. Like Ray Tsuruya had more crafty ways to extend his control time. But I think this competitive scrap, I think it's a tough fight. But I think Ray Tsuruya will be able to blend the martial arts, be able to find creative ways to get takedowns, get control time, and doing all the things, he'll limit the output of Gurule on the feet. And keep the striking total relatively close, and then edge it with his grappling. I think it'll be a close competitive fight, but Ray Tsuruya will be able to clearly edge it with the grappling and beat Gurule by decision. So in this one, I got Ray Tsuruya via decision. Now the next fight we have in the bantamweight division, we got Aoriqileng versus Cody Haddon. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Cody Haddon. Did I go low or average? I don't know. It don't matter. Low confidence Cody Haddon to beat Aoriqileng. Aoriqileng, he was showing some improved takedown defense in some of his recent fights, so that's a big feather in his cap. But even all that, I've never been impressed with Aoriqileng. I see him like a zombie punching bag. It'd be embarrassing when people lose to him. That's how I feel. That's just how I feel. But Cody has a better overall fight. I think he's a better striker. I think he's a better grappler. And has a much higher ceiling. I think he'll be able to dictate the pace of this fight on the feet, in the ground. Win both areas. But blend the martial arts to make it a clearer, smoother path. Instead of just trying to do one particular avenue. You go to desperado for just takedowns. You become predictable. You just go for the striking. Allow Aoriqileng, who's pretty much a one-trick pony, just a striker, to get into his fight in his element. Again, I think Cody Haddon could beat him purely in striking. He could beat him purely in grappling, and he could definitely beat him with all the martial arts. That's what I see. But yeah, I think Cody Haddon is a mixed martial artist. He's not a guy that he just strikes, he just grapples. He does a good job of blending martial arts, and I think that's exactly what he'll do. And I think he'll be to beat Aoriqileng by a clear decision. All right, that's the main thing with Aoriqileng. He's tough and durable. He got a little bit of power, and he's tough and durable. So I think he makes the full 15. But I think Cody Haddon will do a great job of blending the martial arts to never allow Aoriqileng to really have a real good foot in this race. And Cody Haddon is dictating the striking, dictating the range, and dictating what form of martial arts they'll be competing in. Like, he want to grapple, he'll mix the grappling. They want to strike, and never let Aoriqileng, again, try to set a tone. If the tone's going to be being set, and the pace is going to be set by Cody Haddon, dictating everything here. And I think he beats Aoriqileng by decision. So in this one, I got Cody Haddon via decision. Now, the next fight we have in the welterweight division, we got Ming Ding versus Jose Henrique. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Ming Ding to beat Jose Henrique. Yeah, I'm not impressed with Jose Henrique. Like, his chin's not the best, and his defense is even worse. When he's on offense, he can be a little bit of a problem, but as far as at the UFC level, nothing particularly special there. I think Ming Ding's a sharper striker. He has power. He has cleaner defense. And it's going to be a matter of who makes the bigger mistakes and who's better able to exploit it. Again, Henrique makes the bigger mistakes. He's more hittable. He's more open. And his chin's not that great. I think Ming Ding has power. I think he's sharper. And I think he could take advantage of the openings that Henrique will present. And I see him catching Henrique and stopping him late in the first round via TKO. So in this one, I got Ming Ding via first round TKO. Now, the next fight we have in the middleweight division, we got Luis Felipe Diaz versus Yik-Sok Lee. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Luis Felipe Diaz to beat Yik-Sok Lee. Two solid fighters. I just think, as I said in the previous fight on the card, I just think Luis Felipe Diaz is the better overall fighter. And also another thing, again, just as I said, another fight, I need to see them fight in the UFC. I can't just be seeing them fight out here, fight out there. I need to see you get your feet wet in the UFC, or at least a really reputable organization, in my opinion, which I don't feel like I haven't really fought in a really reputable organization by my standards. No insult to them, or I don't feel like they really fought like a really reputable opponent, as far as like what I'm saying, like what that really will factor into UFC is what I'm saying. Or you fought this guy that it was just like 1 year removed from UFC, was doing well in the UFC, you beat him, or you fought this guy, something like that, or you knocked out another very promising prospect, and I've been watching or something like that. Some stuff that would be relevant to me that would say, oh yeah, this guy's ready for the UFC. This guy's ready to do things in the UFC. And again, it's no knock on them. They both definitely fought credible competition as far as like they belong in the UFC, but they have fought, in my opinion, fought or beating competition that would say, oh, they could definitely swim in the UFC if you could get the difference. But yeah, both solid guys, but I think Luis Felipe Diaz is just a better world fighter. Could see a stoppage, but I'll say decision for Luis Felipe Diaz. So in this one, I got Luis Felipe Diaz via decision. Now, the next fight we have in the flyweight division, we got Alex Perez versus Sumudaerji. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Sumudaerji to beat Alex Perez. So my main issue here for Sumudaerji here is the wrestling. And Perez at one point was one of the better wrestler, bully type fighters at this weight class. I don't think his wrestling has been that big a threat for anyone in a long time, maybe like 6 years ago. But, somebody always bring out a rabbit out of the hat and bring back their wrestling with, effect. So that's something there. But I think Sumudaerji has been doing a good job of working on his wrestling. He's been training at the right gyms, doing the right training. So I think he'll do a good job of addressing the wrestling of Perez. Then he'll be the much taller, much rangier fighter. And I think he's the better striker. And I don't think he'll have any great issue with Perez's striking, his kicks, or his punches. But I think he'll be able to stuff the takedowns, outland him. I think Perez will keep him honest enough with the takedown, the threat of the takedown. And that will keep Sumudaerji, slow his pace down a little bit. But I still need to get that slow pace. Sumudaerji will be more than comfortable to fight at a slower pace to, be receptive to the takedowns, land his own kicks, maximize the distance, work behind the jab. And I think what happened? And I think he beats Perez by a clear decision. Competitive scrap, but Sumudaerji doing a great job of addressing wrestling, and then being a much cleaner striker, the much busier striker, and the much more accurate striker, and beating Perez by decision. So in this one, I got Sumudaerji via decision. All right, we got some fights. Now for the next fight, we have in the welterweight division, we got Jake Matthews versus Carlston Harris. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Jake Matthews to beat Carlston Harris. Carlson Harris is a solid fighter, but kind of awkward. And I feel like really his main paths to victory are finishing. And it's not like he has great cardio or great conditioning, great pacing. He don't. He got good power, but Jake Matthews has never been TKO'd. Well, I think he's been TKO'd by Kevin Lee, but that's like, or wasn't submitted. By the way, it wasn't like he got knocked out. I feel like Harris type thing, like he gonna knock you out or like really concuss you. And Matthews has shown us 30 chin, and he's still young enough. We like 32, 33 now. 31. Yeah, Matthews been in UFC like 10 years. He's been in UFC since he was like 21. Still got a sturdy chin after all these years. It's not like he's been getting hit so much to it, so his chin's been holding up. I think probably around 35 we might start to question that chin. But I think he'll hold up in this fight if necessary. Like, he can still rely on it. Way more UFC experience. This is the level of competence Jake Matthews typically has great performances against. I think Jake Matthews is the better overall fighter. I think he's more durable. Again, more experience. I think he can push through any power that, I'm not gonna say just push through with his chin in, but like, if he needs to take him on the arm, maybe need to roll with some shots and just kind of push Harris back and, really grind Harris out. I think he can do that. And that's what I think he'll do. I think it'll be a good competitive scrap, but I think Matthews will start to break Harris down over the course of the fight. Probably start landing his shots, get Harris to the ground, start to ground and pound him, break him down, and then stop him, I'll say mid-third round TKO for Jake Matthews. So in this one, I got Jake Matthews via third round TKO. Now for the next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Kai Asakura versus Cameron Smotherman. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Kai Asakura to beat Cameron Smotherman. And yeah, it's just a big, stark difference between level competition. And it's not like Smotherman is some offensive wrestler. I feel like defensively he can be okay, but offensively he's not really that great of a wrestler. So I think Asakura can more than address the rest of Smotherman. Now Asakura is a faster, heavier hitting striker with a better chin. Smotherman definitely has a glass chin of sorts. And I think he'll be this fight, the grappling ain't gonna be too big a factor here on either side. Striking battle, Asakura again, faster, sharper, hits harder, more technical. So a striker battle. I think Asakura will find that chin, kind of fill him out a little bit. I think he'll be able to touch him right on the button and put him out at the end of the first round. So first round TKO for Kai Asakura. So in this one, I got Kai Asakura via first round TKO. All right, now to our next fight. Let's see, what am I doing? Yeah, next fight we have in the heavyweight division, we got Sergey Pavlovich versus Taliesin Teixeira. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go average confidence Sergey Pavlovich to beat Taliesin Teixeira. I think Taliesin's I'm not gonna say he's a solid fighter. He was struggling with a washed Tai Tuivasa. But yeah, Pavlovich has better conditioning. He has more power. He has a better chin. Teixeira is taller. He has power. You gotta respect power at heavyweight. They need to have him, but barring the obvious anything, which is the puncher's chance, Teixeira ain't got much else. He can't out grapple him. He can't out BJJ him. He can't out wrestle him. He can't out strength him. He can't out condition him. He just can maybe hope to put him on the end of something long and touch his chin with that, or maybe catch him with something he don't see, and maybe that. But I think Pavlovich can go with lighter strikes a little bit early if he wants to be extra little tentative or extra cautious, or maybe go for the wrestling approach. And I don't think he will have any great issue going for takedowns against Teixeira, or would have to even worry about any great submission. Like, he can really just put his neck out there, and it's not like Teixeira has any real submission ability. I'm not saying to do that, but I'm saying he could do that. But anyway, I think I'm gonna say like a late second round TKO for Sergey Pavlovich. I think he's gonna take advantage of the fact that Teixeira does not have the best conditioning, does not have the best defense, and combine those two. So push him, break him down a little bit. Mouth will start to open, chin will start to rise, and then the hands gonna be low, and then Pavlovich's gonna be able to land pretty much impunity. Like, he's gonna be able to land that well, then land that well all criticals and put Pavlovich out. Not to put Teixeira out. I'm gonna say mid to late second round TKO for Sergey Pavlovich. So yeah, be able to go out there, wear him down, and get those hands to drop, get that chin to rise, mouth open, jaw to drop, and then be able to land with impunity. Because Teixeira ain't not got no footwork, not gonna have no head movement. His whole head movement gonna do just be stand as tall as he can, chin in the air, and that's not intelligent defense. And I think Pavlovich is gonna capitalize and be able to put him out in the mid portion of the second round. So in this one, I got Sergey Pavlovich via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in our co-main event in the light heavyweight division, we got Zhang versus Alonzo Menifield. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go average confidence Zhang could beat Alonzo Menifield. So I got my concerns here, but I do like the fact that Alonzo Menifield is coming off a concussive knockout. doesn't have the best defense or striking IQ, nor the best offensive wrestling. I think Menifield will be the dressed wrestler. Menifield. It's not like Menifield has intelligent leg kicks or particularly debilitating leg. I know they probably hurt, but it's not a leg kick that's going to take you out of the fight for the most part. So I think I think Menifield learned from that last fight. I think he'll do a good job of checking leg kicks. That's what Menifield wants to go for. But ultimately, I think Menifield will be the sharper striker, more accurate striker. And I think he'll be able to find that button on Menifield, and I think he'll be able to put him out late in the first round. So, kind of dressing kicks, if those are a problem, establishing the range, work around cleaner, more effective shots, lining Menifield up, and then eventually touching the button and putting Menifield out late in the first round. So, in this one, I got Zhang via first round TKO. Now, the next fight we have in our bantamweight division in the main event, we got Yadong Song versus Davison Figueiredo. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence Yadong Song to beat Davison Figueiredo. Yeah, this is in China. Big day for Song. Song is younger. Song is the truer bantamweight. He's much hungrier. And Figueiredo's been looking kind of, pretty bad in his last couple fights. And, Song's wrestling defense has improved a lot, so I think he'll be the dress of wrestling Figueiredo. This is 5 rounds, not 3 rounds, so also, if he does try to go to wrestling and does have decent success, that might even factor against him because now you use a lot of energy to wrestle in a 5-round fight early. And now you're tired and you're more stationary now because you're tired. You can't use your legs as much. And you're there with a big, young, heavy hitter like Yadong Song. But, I don't really even see that happen. I feel like more so Yadong Song needed to stalk him back. Maybe give him like 1 or 2 takedowns, if even that. Really probably like 1.5, if even that. Maybe like 1. Barely a 1. And then Yadong Song just stalking this fight goes on. Figueiredo probably doing decent early for like the first round, maybe the first round and a half. But I think this fight goes on. Even is doing well, I still think he probably lose the round, lose the first, second round, lose the second round. But again, at least kind of maintain himself pretty well. But Ross like first round and a half. I feel like it's the second half of that second round. I just feel like Yadong Song starts to go away with it. Probably start mixing his own takedowns if necessary, just to give him a different look. And then started to go to the body, come over the top, started to crack Figueiredo with some shots. Figueiredo not really able to take the power, or not taking the power of a young, bigger fighter in Yadong Song that can strike real well, has heavy hands, and is fast, athletic, and in his prime, whereas Figueiredo is smaller, former flyweight, and now fighting beyond his prime, beyond his glory, and where Yadong Song trying to get some glory. So this is a much hungry fighter, bigger, younger, stronger, more active, riding, better momentum. And ultimately just breaking Figueiredo down. And then I see Yadong Song ultimately being able to put it all together and put Figueiredo out late in the 3rd round via TKO. So in this one, I got Yadong Song via 3rd round TKO. And so that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Song versus Figueiredo. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.